All right, guys. So we do have some actual breaking news going on right now. It's about 11 a.m. on Friday, February 21st. New York federal judge Dale Ho issued a 5-page order today in which he refused the Department of Justice's motion to dismiss multiple felony charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He did several things today, all of which are good for the rule of law, all of which are bad for Emile Bove, the acting Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General, and Donald Trump and his Justice Department. So reading from the New York Times, a federal judge on Friday deferred ruling on the substance of the case. And here's an interesting thing. It's like, I'll just read the sentence. A federal judge on Friday deferred ruling on the Justice Department's request to drop the corruption case against Mayor Eric Adams of New York City and appointed an outside lawyer to present independent arguments on the motion that was filed by the DOJ. And that motion had otherwise been unopposed. Nobody had opposed the motion. So this judge appointed an independent attorney to oppose this motion and to argue in opposition to what the Department of Justice is doing. That's amazing. He appointed a guy named Paul Clement. Paul Clement, he's like 58 years old. He was former Solicitor General for the United States for 4 years, from 2004 to 2008 under George W. Bush. So he's argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court many, many times. Let's see, where did he go to law school here? Okay. He went to Harvard Law School. So he went to Harvard Law School. He's been a Republican his entire life. He was Solicitor General under George W. Bush. And this judge, Dale Ho, has now appointed him to argue in opposition to the Department of Justice's request that the charges against New York City Mayor be dismissed. So he has called for additional briefing from each of the parties, which that'll be Paul Clement's first appearance in the case, writing a brief arguing against dismissal of these charges. And bear in mind that Paul Clement now has the full public record, all of the letters that were going back and forth between Emile Bove and Daniel Sassoon, the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, where she, also a Republican Federalist Society, said this is a quid pro quo. It's improper, and I'm not going to do it. This is really fascinating news. This is really fascinating news. This is not what I expected was going to happen, especially based on oral arguments from earlier this week. Judge Ho seemed kind of tentative during that hearing. And again, it's an unopposed motion by the Department of Justice. And this judge was like, no, I'm not ruling on it now. And not only am I not ruling on it now, I'm appointing an uber Republican attorney, former Solicitor General under George W. Bush, to argue against your position, DOJ. And now I want further briefing. And if after that briefing, if the judge feels that it's necessary, there'll be additional oral argument on March 14th. So he could possibly just decide the case based on the briefing, which is now going to be opposed. Fascinating situation, man. Absolutely fascinating developments. Really bad for Donald Trump. Really bad for AG Pam Bondi. Really, really bad for Deputy AG Emile Bove. And very, very good for democracy and the rule of law. Fuck these guys. Have a great Friday.